Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock, and that means it's time to get rolling. I want to warmly welcome all of you to St. Paul's Episcopal Church. My name is Melinda Plue. I have the pleasure of serving as senior warden at this church. Reverend Candace Burgess is in the back, and we are so happy to host all of you tonight, both in person and online. So thank you so much for coming. The reason that we are doing this Meet the Candidate Forum is simply so that voters in Monroe know more information about each candidate so they can make an informed decision. We are we're a church, right? So we do not subscribe to any political ideology. We simply want to provide information and learn it ourselves about who we can vote for and who's invested in the voting process. So the first thing that we're going to do tonight is I'd like to invite Phillip Hinson from the Union County Board of Elections to come forward, and he is just going to give a few minutes of explanation about what's happening, and he will make himself available after the event to answer any questions that you all might have of him. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Like she said, I'm Phillip Hinson. I'm the Deputy Director for the Board of Elections. I'm not going to take up too much time because all these people have a lot to say. Just want to tell you a little bit about your opportunities to vote. This election is a little different. This is the first time we've had a primary for the city of Monroe. So the primary early voting will start February 12th, and we're open from 8 to 7:30, Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, February the 21st, from 8 to 3, and then the 28th from 8 to 3. If you don't get your vote in then, you'll have to go to your precinct on election day. Since it is a partisan election, if you are registered Republican, you have to vote on the Republican ballot. Unaffiliated, you can choose Republican or Democrat, but there is still time to change that. February 6th is the voting registration deadline. Excuse me. So I will make myself available after if anybody has any questions, but we really encourage everybody to vote early. And if you don't vote early, like I say, go to your precinct on election day. If you are unsure where that is, you can go to the ncsbe.gov website and look up your registration. It'll tell you where to vote. It'll even show you your sample ballot. So like I say, I'll be available for questions, after everybody's finished up here. Thank you.
Thanks, Phillip, and he's got stuff in the back if anybody would like to take anything with him. And now I'd like to introduce tonight's moderator to you. Our moderator is Dr. Joseph Ellis. Joseph Ellis is a professor of political science and is the associate dean in the Cannon College of Arts and Sciences at Wingate University. His research specialty is Eastern Europe and Russia, with a focus on the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. He oversees the Baltic Studies Reading Room at Wingate, the largest collection of Baltic materials in the southern United States. He has moderated numerous political forums in Union County, including congressional, county commission, school board, and municipal forums. A native of East Tennessee, he and his family currently reside in Unionville, and he is a member of St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Joseph.
Thanks, Melinda. This event is to get to know the candidates, and as such, should be seen more as an information gathering session rather than a debate in the way we have come to know them. We want potential voters to leave here tonight better informed on issues and where candidates stand on these issues, in addition to what they see as their vision for the future of Monroe. This session will proceed in 3 parts. First, each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves and briefly discuss why they are running for their stated position. Next, we move on to several rounds of questions for each candidate. These questions were developed by a bipartisan collection of Monroe residents and edited for clarity by your moderator. Again, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer. There is no redirect or period of rebuttal during this session. Our goal is to get through at least 5 questions per candidate, time permitting. All candidates will receive the same question. Lastly, there will be 1 minute closing round where candidates can make their final appeal to the voters. Time will be kept with Ms. Melinda Plue. She will hold up the yellow ping pong paddle when there is 15 seconds remaining of your 1 minute, and the red paddle when the minute has expired. The moderator will strictly enforce the time limit out of respect for all candidates. The order for tonight's session was determined at random prior to the event. We will begin with Mrs. Anthony, at which point each successive question will begin to the left of the previous response. So, for example, after the first round, we will begin the second round with Mr. Dotson and proceed to the left on each initial round. So no one will start the same, no one will be the last person on each round. Lastly, we are in a church, after all. Let's maintain decorum and respect for all involved in tonight's event. That not only refers to our candidates, but also our audience. Excessive disruption will result in being asked to leave the event. Thank you. If you give me just 1 moment, we'll get started. Beginning with Ms. Anthony, we will begin with opening statements. Please introduce yourself and tell us why you are running for your position.
Okay. Good afternoon. First, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight. I think it's very important that you have an opportunity to be an educated voter, and I want to congratulate all of the candidates. I'm running because I'm a public servant. I don't consider myself a politician. I've dedicated all of my adult life to public service by way of 4-H, by way of Girl Scouts, by way of North Carolina Department of Public Safety, and now for the last 13 years in the political arena. I love Monroe. I'm a native of Monroe. I know from where Monroe has come. I'm a part of Monroe's history, and Monroe is a part of my history. I have a servant's heart. I have no ulterior motives. And I'm running out of a place of love for this city, knowing from where this has come, where it is, and what it can be. So I give 150% of my energy, my knowledge to serving. I serve with complete transparency. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I've spent most of my adult life serving the communities where I've lived and worked, first as a United States Marine, and then for 25 years as a law enforcement officer. Here in Monroe, I've continued that service on the Planning Board, the Airport Commission, and now as a City Council member. I'm currently the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, a member of the Citizens Appointment Committee, and I'm proud to say that I helped start and chaired the first Animal Welfare Committee in the city of Monroe. I'm running because I've spent the last several years working directly on the issues that I think are going to affect Monroe's future: safety, growth, and infrastructure. You only need to look at Charlotte to see firsthand what happens when you make decisions without having long-term planning. On council, I've consistently pushed for more transparency and public input in development decisions, pushed for stronger infrastructure policies, and policies that protect our existing neighborhoods. What motivates me is making sure that Monroe isn't just a bedroom community for Charlotte, but a hometown where families can afford to live, where infrastructure outpaces growth, and where we don't pass today's problems on to the next generation.
Thank you and good evening. I want to thank St. Paul's for hosting and thank Melinda and the crew for the work they did to make this possible, and thank all of you for joining us online or here. My name is Pat Kahle. I'm a Republican candidate for mayor. The reason I'm running, quite frankly, is because I love this community. It's been our home for 40 years, and we've just enjoyed and loved being here. I am a former banker. I am a former entrepreneur and a retired executive from our community's Chamber of Commerce. Service comes in many forms, and I've spent my entire career in service to the community, but through the community engagement that I've done as well as my profession. It is an honor to be here this evening with all of the other candidates, and I look forward to the conversation tonight, and thank you so much again for being here.
Ms. Kahle. Mr. Kerr.
Good evening. I'm James Kerr. It has truly been my honor to serve as your city councilman these past 4 years. And I stand here before you tonight asking for your vote and your support for another term. Monroe is the most vibrant, the most successful it has ever been in my memory, and I see so much history sitting here in the room that would agree with me that nothing has looked as bright as it does right now. We need an additional term to finish projects, but I'd like to share with you water. One of the things that we completed was another 1 million gallons daily for all of you, and it only cost $1. And it is the definition of cooperation between state and local government, a project that myself, Councilwoman Thompson, and Senator Todd Johnson made happen. I thank you all for being here tonight, and think about more projects like water that runs into the taps of all of our homes that we'll be able to accomplish with another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills.
Good evening, and thank you for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. Excuse me. I graduated from Monroe High School in 1979, Appalachian in 1983, and came back home and worked with the family business, which I just retired. I owned Mills Cleaners for 42 plus years. It's been a great ride. I was raised that service to humanity is the best work of life, and I strive to do that, from the Arts Council to the Museum of the Waxhaws to United Way to Union Diversified Industries Board. I've just given back. The JCs I've just really enjoyed, and they gave a lot to me, and I've tried to give back and make it a better place. My mother and my father, since we were in the business together, I was raised to also turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones and move forward, keep moving forward, and improvise and adapt and overcome. I know that's a Marine motto there, but my dad taught me that. He was in the Navy, by the way, and he said the Marines cleaned up everything around them, but I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, not picking on the Marines, but it's oh, you time for me to go? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Thompson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to St. Paul's for hosting this, and to Melinda and to Kevin and to Dr. Ellis and to all the candidates behind me on either side. It's a privilege to be here. I'm running for re-election to the Monroe City Council because I love Monroe. We've said that. This is a common theme. I'm 63 years old. I've lived here for all of 8 months of those 63 years. I was 8 months old when my parents moved here. So this is my home, and it has been good to me. I am a retired nurse, current educator, volunteered in many realms, served on PTA boards, PTA president, PTA treasurer. Wherever my children were when they were growing up, that's where I was. I've been married to my husband for 43 years. We have 3 grown daughters, 3 son-in-laws, and 6 grandchildren, and we're blessed. And this is their home. And so I want to continue some projects that I have been a part of. I want to see those to completion. I want to be a part of that process. I also want to be able to represent all of you and provide you with a place to live and work and worship and raise a family and choose the life you would like to have here in Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Mr. Anderson, you'll conclude this round.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here, and special thanks to Melinda and St. Paul's for allowing us to be here. I'm Gary Anderson. I'm running for re-election for Monroe City Council. This is my 8th year serving on City Council. This is my home. I want to continue to serve, to continue to bring great projects to our city. We've accomplished so much in 8 years, from the Dowd Center Theater to a new police headquarters, a new 6th fire station, the Science Center, the Active Adult Center, so many projects that I want to continue to see completed around our city. I have an unwavering support for our police and our firefighters. I've always been actively involved with them. I will continue to support public safety. I will continue to manage and make sure that we are careful with residential growth. Also, development. It is critical that we focus on economic development and that we continue to bring great jobs, great paying jobs here to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All right, this will begin our round of questions for the candidates. We have about 5 or 6 questions we'd like to get through, time permitting. This round will begin with Mr. Dotson and then proceed to the left. And I think our timekeeper is going to move to a little more visible place for our candidates. Thank you. And this question will be asked of all the candidates, so if you need me to repeat it, just let me know. Mr. Dotson, how do you think Monroe should approach growth and development in the next 5 years while balancing concerns like historic preservation or maintaining that small town feel?
Well, one of the things that I think we have to do is we have to protect the ordinances that we've already got changed. One of the things that I was able to get done was push through vesting, which means that instead of having 5 years for a development to take place, it's now down to 2. We've also changed it from gross to net, which means all of the future growth is going to be less dense anyways. The problem that we have is that some members of the state assembly would like to change that. We're very developer heavy at the state. They want to make their money. You have to have leaders who are willing to stand in the breach, stand up for Monroe, and make sure that you're thinking ahead. One of the things that I would like to do as far as utility capacity would go, as it plays into that, I would like to lobby the state so that we can have a certain percentage of our utilities set aside for those good paying jobs, because it's first come, first serve. If the houses are built, they're going to get serviced first. We're not going to have enough for investment or corporate investment. Thank you.
Ms. Kahle.
The past few months, I've spent a lot of time talking with citizens about their top 3 concerns. Invariably, every conversation, divisive politics, and number 2 was growth. Throughout our community, there is a concern about the fast growth we've had. Like many here, though I did not grow up here, we made this our home. And we can remember when downtown, the streets rolled up and no one opened new businesses here. But the pendulum has swung. We're permitting 850 to 950 homes each year with 8,000 entitled. It's a big challenge. We have to be intentional, responsible, and thoughtful. The most important thing we can do here at the City of Monroe is protect our infrastructure, protect our sense of history. Those are things that we need to work on. And while the General Assembly does control this, having those relationships that we can partner with and also advocate for this city when it comes to growth is it's one of the #1 issues. Thank you.
Mr. Kerr, same question.
You can't move forward unless you know your history. And that's my first engagement, starting when Dana and I first got married, was serving, I think 18 years total on the Historic District Commission, and then on Historic Monroe Foundation, and currently now on Monroe Union County Historic Properties. And it's the preservation of these properties which has led to the vibrant redevelopment of our downtown, which is leading all these Fortune 100 and 500 companies to choose our area for their top-paying precision manufacturing jobs. It is attracting those businesses and the tax revenues they pay that pour back into the coffers that allow us to provide top-notch parks, community centers, all the events that you enjoy downtown. And what I have done, and I hope to continue doing as chair of your Economic Development Commission, is to see our airport be #1 in the state. Right now we're #2. I want to be #1 in general aviation, and we are well on the way of building a manned control tower. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills.
I too have spoken to a lot of people, and the #1 response I get is the growth. And one of the reasons I decided to run for city council is when I live at Olive Branch Road, I take a right on Cyrus Edwards, take a right on Morgan Mill, get on the bypass to come in 601. That's a problem. I am extremely tired of 40-foot wide lots, 5 feet off the property line, 10 feet between houses. I was at Kiker Pools today talking to Doug Kiker, and someone called in and, ma'am, I've already checked your house. I can't get the equipment in the backyard to build a pool. So we have a problem. Whether you elect me or not, you're still going to have 7,000 homes that are already approved to be built. So I think that we need to have a moratorium put in place, ask the General Assembly to stop it. One of the reasons is that Union County is trying to go to R120. That's 1 house per 3 acres. When they do that, that's going to push a huge burden on everyone to come to Monroe, annex in the county, annex land in the county and build. And I'm all in favor of having building, but let's build quality, not quantity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Thompson.
I want to reference April of 2022 when the city council that I was serving on at the time and am currently serving on passed the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance document. It's 435 pages of zoning, land use laws, things we have to look at and follow when developments are presented to us. So this is my take. When someone owns a piece of property, they're going to develop it. They have a right to develop it, whether it's residential, commercial, whatever that may be. Our task is to choose between, when I first came on council, it was between, well, take it or leave it, and now we're at a point to where it's between good and best. And I think that is a better place to be. I think with these things in place, and this document is a living document, as we continue to develop it, as we continue to work on it, that we can strike a balance between residential growth, commercial growth, and what is healthy for Monroe. It takes time, but I do think it's a lot better than it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I'm pleased to report that myself and our council has not approved any high-density residential developments in the last 2.5 years. And I pledge to continue to support not approving any of those developments. I will say this, we have a very strong planning board. We have some members of our planning board here tonight. They do an outstanding job of making recommendations and screening a lot of these developments. Now, when it comes to economic development, I want to highlight one quick example to show you how attractive Monroe is to corporations. Pure Power Contractors, we just sold 18 acres to them. They are relocating here from Indian Trail, investing $20 million into the city of Monroe, 163 jobs, and adding 100 new jobs with salaries starting at $80,000 each. And why are they coming here? Because we can provide everything they need, from sewer, electricity, power, natural gas, police protection, fire protection. We have everything they need, and I will definitely continue to promote economic growth.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony.
One of the biggest questions and complaints we get is about overcrowding and about so much building. Having a moratorium is against the law. We can't do that. But what we need to do is follow our UDO. What we need to do is make sure that we have our ear to the people. When people apply, we need to make sure that it's a quality project that they're making, that is not someone coming through to make a few bucks and go, and then in 5 years it becomes rental property. We are 58% rental. So it is an attractive place to be because we are the manufacturing hub for Union County, second in aeronautics, so that attracts people. But we need, as I say, follow the UDO, listen to the people, make sure that we have quality over quantity.
Thank you. All right. Next question will begin with Ms. Kahle. Discuss your thoughts around public safety in Monroe. What are the current strengths that need to be maintained, and what are the opportunities for improvement?
Well, public safety is certainly the foundation of what a community should provide, and we're very fortunate to have such a wonderful police department here in Monroe. What I think one of our strengths are we have such a great team, and recently they gave an overview to City Council, and I hope you watched. When you heard them talk about some of the changes and restructuring that they've made, Chief Bowling gave a great report, as did Assistant Chief Goforth, around the changes they've made in the structure. Things for improvement. One of the first conversations I had was with a local minister who said community policing is critical to the success of our community. And I know that we've started a new community group, a community policing group within the police department. And I would say if there's an area for us to improve upon is to build upon the relationships between the police department, local faith leaders, as well as local community leaders. And I'm delighted that I have a commitment from at least one local minister who said he's all in on doing that. Responsible for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr.
You only have to ride along Crowell Street to see how committed the city is to the police department. The Kilgore Center is truly something for every municipality, every county in the state to strive for. And we not only have the physical building with the tools that they need, but we have a staff that is highly skilled. It is valued. We recently, through a very comprehensive process, worked out so that everyone who is moving into our police department, that their pay scale is equal to where they came from, that their vacation days are the same as where they came from, that their retirement possibilities are the same. So we are competitive now with everyone in the Charlotte region. So there's no longer the case where we would be losing a top-notch officer because of something with pay or something with benefits. And riding around our city, don't you all feel safe? I mean, how about just a show of hands? Does anyone feel? I mean, they're doing a great job. They're available. And the red paddle.
Mr. Mills.
Well, our local police and fire, and I'm glad that they have raised the pay, but I would rather have people wanting to come here to work and not try to keep people to stay. We need to pay them good. We need to pay above average, above normal, because they do above average. They do a great job. They have to be at their best, the police and the fire and all our rescue, when things are at their worst. They have to run to trouble. And with that said, I'm going to go right back to the houses. 5 feet off the property line, 10 feet between houses is dangerous when these firemen try to get in there. It's just not safe. Try to get a fire truck down Scotch Meadows, please. You're not going to get it down there. You're not going to get a rescue squad down there. There are cars on the road. Their houses are too close together, spaced together. So, yes, we got a lot of problems there, but we have the finest rescue, police, fire that I know of. And Chief Fowler and the new chief police do an outstanding job, and I'm glad that, I'm going to say one more thing. My cleaners caught on fire, and the building was, the glass was knocked out. The fire department.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Thompson.
It would be really hard for me to overstate. We're a law enforcement family. I have 2 children, and we count our son-in-laws as children that serve in the Monroe Police Department, the Union County Sheriff's Office. We have a son-in-law who's also a community paramedic. So to say that I support law enforcement, I don't think I can make any other stronger statement than that. But I would say that the decisions that have been made by our current city management staff to bring up the compensation packages, the benefit packages for the Monroe Police Department, and the changes that have happened recently with the retirement of Chief Gilliard and Chief Boland and the command staff being upgraded, our community is doing very well in that area, and I'd like to see it continue. I really don't know of any area of improvement that we have to make other than to continue to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
5 years ago, I'll never forget it, I made the motion to fund our new police headquarters, which was very needed and has proven very effective for our community. We have added 24 firefighters in the last 5 years to the city of Monroe. We gave our police officers the largest salary increase in the history of Monroe last year. To say that we support public safety, that I support public safety, is an understatement. Just last Friday night, I rode with our police department. I put myself on night shift. I rode from 9 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. I get out and I support them. I've also had dinner at 2 fire departments just within the last month. And when I'm at a fire department, I jump on a truck and I go out and I ride with them if they get a call, because it is imperative that we see what they do and understand what they do. That helps us in the budget process. I am so proud of our police officers, our firefighters, and by the way, our fire department is an ISO rated 1. That is the highest national rating that anybody can have in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony.
I seldom say aye, but I gave the second on getting the police department because we were shying away from it because of the cost, and we didn't want to incur so much debt for the city. As Gary has said, we have an ISO 1, the highest rating that a fire department can have. We're one of 30 fire departments in the state of North Carolina to carry that. By that same token, our police department has a national rating as well. That does not come lightly. They had to earn that. People had to come here and rate them. I will say that the council has supported the fire department to make sure they have all of the equipment that they need. You know, recently we had an officer that was shot, and we didn't realize at the time we did not have night vision. Once that was realized, the council did not take a second to decide we're going to buy that equipment. So it's so important that we furnish the equipment that they need and support them on things that they need. Secondly, the hiring has changed.
You know, as a police officer myself, I can tell you that one of the strengths that our department has, and it's one of the best in the state, is their communication with the community. You know, I know that Chief Boland has started a faith leaders group where they get together on Thursdays. I think that's very important. One of the things I would push for would be data-driven asset allocation, meaning that there's only a small group of individuals that commit a majority of the crime in the city of Monroe. And you know, that can affect how neighborhoods feel, how their focus on repeat offenders would be something that would be easy to do, data-driven. And one of the other things I'd like to do is create a group of citizen advocates that we could communicate with, that can advocate in the community for us when we have incidents, no matter how small. It could be a fight at the school or anything that we think may cause a retaliation. A lot of our crime, a lot of our violent crime is a result of those incidents that happen at school, that happen on the neighborhood block or wherever, that causes neighborhoods not to feel safe. And as an officer, I'm just going to tell you, I'm impressed with the fact that our officers will embed themselves in the community. They don't just work their 8 hours, they don't just work their shift.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, this will begin the third round of questioning. We'll begin with Mr. Kerr. What structure should council use to ensure that public input is gathered and considered in the decision-making process?
I'm glad you asked that question. We recently instituted having a second meeting, and one of the prime bases for that second meeting is to allow a much longer and a much more engaged period for public comment. We're also a city that has grown to the point that we could not cover all of our business in one monthly meeting. So it also serves, you know, for public hearings and for other committee reports, but the basis of that second meeting is to allow for public comment. And I encourage all of you that have a question, a concern, or anything that that you just want to talk about to come to a fourth Tuesday meeting at 6 o'clock to City Hall. Thank you.
Mr. Mills.
Some of you may or may not know, but I served 2 terms as a county commissioner and also as the chairman of the board of commissioners. And we had our meetings, every meeting we had public input, public comment, and I would like to have that at the city of Monroe. If you have a public meeting, it needs to have public comment. I like to see it at the very beginning. Again, I've taken the heat. People get upset. Sometimes they praise you, but most of the time you're not. There's a problem, but you still have to have the good with the bad. It's like my dad always told me, if it rains, you got to deal with the mud too. So I would prefer to have, if you have two meetings, have them open, access, have them filmed, but have public comment each time. And I think we allowed half an hour each time. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but whatever the rule is, we need to follow it. And they are following it, but I would have it at each public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Thompson. What structure should council use to ensure that public input is gathered and considered in the decision-making process?
Okay, I think it would be a good reminder to remind our citizens that we are available through our MonroeNC.org addresses. You can go to the MonroeNC.org webpage and see contact phone numbers, contact emails, and citizens are welcome to contact us at any time. They're welcome to be at every meeting. The laws of North Carolina require us to have public comment. We have to have it every 30 days, and we do. And we do have it on that fourth Tuesday of every month, and it's been productive. The meetings are filmed. Right now, the public comments are not. I hope we get back to the point to where we can do that. But there have been circumstances that have caused us to have to make a decision to where we can keep the right decorum and the right respect for others in our city. And that's why it's not being filmed now. But if you want to attend, you're welcome. It's open, and we want you to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Mr. Anderson, same question.
So I'll just echo, we do have a dedicated public comment period once a month where citizens can come out and communicate with us. But I think most importantly is we have to be accessible. I return every email. I return every phone call. I take phone calls, even on weekends, on nights, on vacation. And I'm thankful to have my wife Sandra here tonight. And I tell you what, Sandra can vouch. There have been many times when we've tried to take a week of vacation and I've answered city phone calls and taken calls from citizens. Just 2 years ago, we took a little mini trip to Atlantic City, and we were actually walking on the Atlantic City Boardwalk on New Year's Day, and Bishop Gardine called me. And he had a need, he had a question. He knows he can call me anytime. I took his phone call and I took care of his issue. And that's what it's all about. It's about being engaged with our citizens. It's about taking phone calls, returning phone calls, and truly trying to help and serve people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Ms. Anthony.
What we do now is have 1 hour for public comment on our second meeting. Things that we could do, and I would be very interested in doing it, is having quarterly roundtables, and any citizen could come. We have to make ourselves available, we have to make ourselves accountable, and we have to make ourselves supportable. Public engagement is probably the most important part of municipal government. After all, it's the citizens that make the city, not the buildings. We have to be factual and truthful and transparent. By serving in municipal government, you're available at the grocery store, at the doctor's office, at the gas station. So we have to remember we serve at the people's pleasure, so we have to be served from our heart.
Thank you. Mr. Dotson.
We work for the citizens. Their input is the most important part of what we do, and they have the right to address us as a group 60 minutes out of the month. I think that's the most important part of those meetings, and that's why I have voted against any attempt to limit the ability of the citizens to watch at home what public comment is said and to come up to the podium and address us. That, again, is the most important part of that meeting. How are we supposed to know exactly what you want to say? Maybe you don't have email, maybe you are homebound. You want to watch, I understand that, but you want to come and look your elected officials in the eye and tell them what you think and what you believe. That's why I've voted against limiting that at our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kahle.
I think being accessible is one of the most important things that an elected official can do. As I started my campaign, someone reached out with an email and said, I have concerns about my community, around my neighborhood, and can we meet for coffee and talk about it? And I said, well, how about this? How about I'll come to your house, let's walk your neighborhood, let's take a look at what your concerns are. There is nothing like being in the community that you're serving to know what's going on. She was very forthcoming with her comments, and she had some good points. The other thing I would say is being in the community is most important. And one of the things I really like that they're doing in the town of Indian Trail is Mayor Cone has Mayor's Coffee, where he sets up at different places and people come and have conversation. And I think that's important for us to be in the community, one. Two is to also have a structure where it's outside public comments, because not everyone's comfortable coming in front of a group and having a conversation. But I think being at a coffee shop, being in the community and having that door open, maybe a couple of council people would join me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we'll begin this next question with Mr. Mills. Many citizens are concerned about traffic on our major thoroughfares, in addition to concerns about how those roads are maintained. How can we improve in this area over the next 5 years?
Well, that is a really good question, and that's really a problem that we have getting around. It's only going to get worse. Again, whether you elect me or not, you still got 7,000 plus homes going to be built. Just like the previous board voted for the 700 homes over there at Lake Lee that are going to dump on the 601. That's going to be a huge, huge problem there. There's 700 apartments over on Morgan Mill Road next to the Lee Park Baptist Church. That's going to be a problem there, Daryl. Our neighborhood is getting hammered. So we need to control the growth. We need to plan where these developments are. And I would personally like to see a map of City Hall, behind City Hall, of all the developments that are planned and where they are, so people can see exactly what's taking place. And let's look. I talked to Rosenberg, our Stephen Rosenberg. He said we're $10 billion behind in state funds. So that's a problem there. The city can build some roads and maintain some roads, and we get power bill money for potholes, but the state has got to come up too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Thompson.
In June, the budget was passed, and I did use the word budget. I did. In that budget is the first paving program that I'm aware of that has been included in a budget in Monroe. We've heard the citizens say, look, our roads are in terrible shape, and I've ridden them in places they are. But we've committed $2 million plus to begin that paving program, and for it to be a consistent thing that improves our roads, not just maintains, or not even at the level of maintaining, just barely keeping our head above water. And I think that's a very important step. I voted in favor of that. There were others that did not. I think that's an important piece, and I think we're working with our legislature to access Power Bill funds and add to that, but to have that step in our budget is a huge step forward for the city of Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I will echo what Ms. Thompson said in our last budget. I voted in favor as well of adding $2 million, an extra $2 million towards paving roads that the city is responsible for. I think it's also important that we continue to hold NCDOT responsible, because they are responsible for a lot of the roads in the city. It took me months and months of calling NCDOT to get them to pave Old Monroe Road from Dickerson all the way down to Sun Valley High School. But we got it done, but we have to stay on them. We also have to manage growth. With managing traffic comes managing growth. So, but trust me, we are absolutely committed to taking care of the roads that the city is responsible for. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony.
In our last budget, we approved $2 million to pave 72 miles of city streets. to be very honest with you, it's not a lot we can do about the traffic. Since 2021, we've had 49 new developments. So if you count at least 4 people in each house, and some of the developments have 300 houses, you know, so with growth comes traffic, and can't get around that. We've also committed to doing more with sidewalks, and one of the most important things that we have done, we are now improving the materials that we use to pave with. Before, what we was using was not adequate, and it did not last as long as it should. So with all that, that will help with the city streets. And any street that has a number belongs to the state. So sometimes the road is inside the city, but it's actually the state's.
Thank you. Mr. Dotson.
All those developments weren't approved overnight. They're approved over time. Your roads have been here that entire time. They got here over a process of time. That's why growth should be controlled. That's why decisions are important, not just for traffic, but for every other utility, every other piece of infrastructure. One of the things I would say is pretty simple. Attach road funding to your revenue. The more revenue you get, the more road funding that you get. Work with the General Assembly on a way to recalculate some of the POW bill. Figure out a way that General Assembly can send us some more funding. But like I said, these were not approved overnight. People looking for your vote sometimes, they approve these things. Now we're here trying to figure out how to fix them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kahle.
Until a city gets the basics right, it's hard to move on, and road maintenance is just one of the basics. Called on a neighbor as I was out knocking doors, and they said, "You have my vote, but let me say this, I go to another town to visit family and the roads are great, and I come back home and they're terrible. What can be done?" And I applaud current council for the $2.6 million that they allocated toward maintenance. However, if you look at the budget, it reads that almost 60% of the roads are considered poor or very poor. That's a problem, and we have to focus on those basics through funding, certainly advocating at the General Assembly, looking for other avenues, but the very basics of what a city provides has to be the top priority. It has to be. As far as traffic, I couldn't agree more in terms of controlling growth. But some, as already mentioned, some of the growth has already been approved, but maintaining that focus on responsible growth is critical, because we just cannot continue to have that kind of traffic growth. Excuse me.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr, to conclude this question.
A definite quality of life issue. How many of you buy gas? I would encourage you to get in touch with your state delegation and make it just an enforceable law that every cent of that gas tax has to be used for roads. Every single year when you look at the budget, a vast majority of what's collected for road maintenance doesn't go anywhere close to paving a road. The state roads, as you have heard other members talk about today, are indeed confusing. And when you say, "I want a pothole fixed" or "I want a curb looked at," you don't want to hear us say we can't do anything about it. It's a state road. If the state would enforce collecting that revenue, they would have enough money to keep things up on parity to keep up with the maintenance. Now, the city of Monroe has done one quality of life issue that I greatly appreciate, and anyone downtown appreciates, is that they are really enforcing speed limits. They're going in different districts around town and slowing the cars down, and even if we can't do anything immediately about the number of cars,
Thank you. All right. We'll begin this next question with Ms. Thompson. What does accountability to the community mean to you, and how would residents know you are doing your job effectively?
Will you repeat that one more time?
What does accountability to the community mean to you, and how would residents know you are doing your job effectively?
I am standing here tonight as an elected official because you gave me that privilege when you went to the ballot box and voted for me. I am accountable to you for every decision I make. I am the kind of person that likes to examine things from every angle, take all the information, make the best decision I can for the citizenry as a group for Monroe. That is not always an easy task. I also know that the accountability that I have personally lies with the one who created me and who gave me the opportunity to serve you. So how do you know if I'm doing my job correctly? If I am truthful with you, if I tell you that I represent you, that I will listen to you, I will talk to you. We may not always agree, but we can disagree agreeably, and I'm willing to take anyone's input and anyone's opinion and consider it, and I'm available at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
So I think first and foremost, accountability involves being out and about in the community and being involved in all aspects of our Monroe community. My wife and I eat local, we shop local. I'm in our downtown on average of 3 to 4 nights a week. I attend all kinds of fundraisers, everything from the Council on Aging breakfast to the Union County Playmakers to the American Red Cross, fundraisers for the homeless shelter, Crime Stoppers, actively involved with our Monroe Rotary Club, which is very focused on community-oriented projects. That's what it's all about. It's getting out. And by the way, I've been to a number of pancake supper fundraisers right here at St. Paul's. That's what it's all about. It's getting out and being accountable because you are involved in all aspects of the community. And we do have a great community here. And when you get out and you see things for yourself, you see wonderful things and wonderful citizens throughout Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony.
Accountability is very important. As for me, everything begins and ends with integrity. I think it's important that we act honestly and that we act with ethics. It's important that we don't get caught up on soapboxes. We don't adhere to propaganda, that we are honest and transparent with the citizens. It's important that you answer your emails, you answer your telephone calls. I spend a lot of time going out in communities where citizens call with an issue. You go out and we talk to them. I invite them to city council. We sit down with a round table. Whatever the department is involved, we get the department in and talk it out. So accountability and transparency are probably two of the most important things that we can do. As I said before, we serve at the pleasure of our citizens, and I always say if you're not accountable, then save that vote for the next time.
Thank you. Mr. Dotson.
Well, one of the ways I think that you can hold us accountable is looking at your quality of life. Is your quality of life better or is it worse? Are the problems bigger or are they smaller? I will say this, as far as accountability goes, sometimes you have to have rules. That's why I brought forward a financial disclosure statement to all the elected officials that are sitting in front of you now and on our council, so that you know where we make our money, how we make our money, and so that you can know what part of the decision-making process. When we make decisions, I want you to be able to hold us accountable. I also made changes or pushed for changes to the ethics policy to make sure that we have to recuse ourselves if we're making some type of decision that affects our finances or affects a family member. That's accountability. I come from a place of rules and processes, and that's what I've been pushing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kahle.
Dr. Ellis, what a great question. I come from a business background, and for me, accountability is results. And part of what I said when I started this campaign is I want to bring that business mindset to government. We can talk about processes and rules and so forth, but the truth of it all is if we don't get results for you, if we don't make your life better by achieving things, then what's the point? And so for me, it's about metrics, it's about integrity, it's about honesty, but at the end of the day, it's about achieving results that make your life better, whether that's the pothole in the road or some grander vision once the basics have been taken care of. But for me, it's about results. Those should be measurable, and you should see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr.
It never occurred to me not to give back to the community. I'm sitting here looking at my mother and my mother-in-law and my wife, and we've always given back. When we were first married, we didn't have any money. We gave our time, we gave our labor. As we worked harder with our small business and we had another dollar or two, we would make it labor and a dollar. And in my public service, which I have greatly enjoyed doing, it's problem solving. It is like approaching it to business problems, because the city of Monroe is a vast corporation and we are actually on members of their board of directors. So we are accountable to you, the citizens, as if you were shareholders. And we want you to see that you are getting a return on your investment for the time that we are putting into our time in this office. All of us serve on countless committees. All of us serve on different boards, and we're all trying to make things better for you, and we do appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills, to close out this round.
Well, being in business for 42 plus years with Mills Cleaners, being accountable is something I've done. My name is on the front of the check, not the back. And I made a lot of payrolls, never missed one. And accountable, I have to be to my customers, and I'll be accountable to y'all. My cell phone is 704-309-0285. It is on the internet. It's on everything. I still have an office at the Cleaners. I did sell it. I just retired January 1st. Stop by, call me anytime. I was a drive-by commissioner when I was a county commissioner. I did more business there than I did in the courthouse. I was very accessible. I will still be accessible. Everybody up here, everybody has my respect, and they should have your respect, because they put their name on the dotted line and take criticism, and it's not an easy thing to do. So you have to have tough skin, but accountability is something I do believe that all of them are, and you can definitely count on me to do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've moderated a lot of these events over the years, and every time I agree to do this, I say, you let me ask one question that I developed that no one else sees, and I ask a version of this question every single time. And I hope you can appreciate what I'm trying to get at with this question. So Mr. Anderson, we're going to begin with you. It is a beautiful spring day in Monroe. You have the day off, and you want to spend it with friends and family. Where are you going, and what are you doing?
Well, that's easy, because we have a lot of great local restaurants here in downtown Monroe that my wife and I enjoy eating at. So I would definitely come downtown and eat local, and then attend one of our performances at the Dowd Theater. If you've not been to the Dowd Theater, you need to go. We are selling out performances there, and we are bringing in top-notch entertainment. So a day or an evening in downtown, to me, would make me happy. One of my favorite times of year is the Christmas tree lighting. My wife and I always come to that every year. We had thousands of people come out to our Christmas tree lighting. Our downtown, we put a lot of effort into all new Christmas decorations that you may have noticed out and about on Main Street and Haines Street and throughout our downtown area. Everybody was here. They were safe. They brought their families. They brought their children to the tree lighting ceremony. And what a great thing to know that you're bringing them to a safe downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony.
I was trying to give that some thought as I was sitting that beautiful spring day. I think I'd start the day and go read with some kindergartens. And after I did that, I think that I would check out which communities are having community meetings. I know of 3 that have community meetings. I would try to go to as many community meetings as I could. I'd leave that and go to Morgan's Alley, get some pizza and have lunch. Then I'd go downtown and talk to the merchants. After I did that, I'd go back to City Hall and put on Facebook that I was there.
Thank you. Mr. Dotson.
This laughter doesn't cut into my time, does it? Because you can have it if you want it. Listen, I will say this. Running a campaign is not easy. It's not easy on the family. It's not easy on the candidate. And I know my daughter is watching and my wife are watching. And I can say with a great amount of certainty, I would go watch one of my daughter's basketball games. And I'd walk the dogs for my wife. And I would just spend time around my home, which is the best home I've ever lived in. Coming from Kentucky, this is the best city I've ever lived in. And to me, that's a perfect afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kahle.
My husband is checking right now on his wallet to see how much money she's going to spend. I agree so much with these guys, and I think, so now I'm going to have to get a hot dog to offset the pizza that Surlata's getting, Tim. So, you know, the best thing, Dick and I, my husband and I have been married for 44 years, and so one of the best things that I find that I love about this community is being able to park the car and just walk, right? And then just walk, and then just see what happens. And Morgan Alley, what a beautiful project. And to be able to sit now that we have that beautiful furniture and have lunch and then walk hand in hand just around our area. Of course, that we have already walked the dog because the dog has to be walked before you do anything in our house. But just spending time downtown is just really lovely, and a beautiful spring day. I think just being in the sunshine would be wonderful. Thanks for that question.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr.
Assume that this is a Saturday, and I'm going to assume that I will be able to turn off my phone, and I'm assuming that we would be packing an incredible picnic from our wonderful historic home, which is just 5 blocks away, and we would tether up the dogs, and I would pack on my back probably a 50-pound picnic that Dana had put together. And we would meander through College and Crawford and Washington and Hayne and Church, and we would end up down in front of the old post office. And hopefully by this point, the Union Symphony would be playing an outdoor concert, and we would enjoy this picnic, and we would run into friends and maybe some family, and you would just absorb everything that's great about living in a town like ours. And that would be a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills.
Mine would definitely be family-oriented. My middle daughter, Allie, is expecting a child in August, and so probably have to be later spring. Next spring, I'd assume, and with my other granddaughter. We would probably pack a really nice picnic lunch, go down to Belk Tonawanda Park, grill out, relax, and then if all the stars lined up, Frozen would be showing at Dow Theater, which Gary is right. If you have not been there, it is a really great facility. We saw the Marshall Tucker Band there. Yacht Rock was the other one, which was great. That was fun. Now, if we can just get the Atlanta Rhythm section to come in there. But I got a feeling Frozen is going to be, the first time I took my daughter to it, I fell asleep. So I gotta redo that. But a picnic and Frozen at the Dow Theater would be an awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, to close out this question.
I'm going to go you one better, Mayor Pro Tem. I would video myself every stop I went instead of I just take the camera. When I think about a spring day in Monroe, divided into 2 parts. To gather up the grandkids, we'd go downtown and walk. The girls would want to go to the bookstore and a cause for tea. The boys would want to know when we were going to go to Tim's and get a hot dog or pizza or something else to eat. Or is there a movie we can see? What are we going to do next? So many things to take advantage of. The Science Center. It'd just be, let's choose what we're going to do today. And then we'd end the afternoon back at our home that we've lived in for 43 years, and we'd get on the golf cart and we'd ride around the block, and we'd speak to the neighbors, and we would let the older ones drive. Maybe we might do that, but we would enjoy our day in beautiful Monroe. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. All right, that concludes this round of questioning. We will now proceed to our closing remarks. We're doing great on time, so when this ends, I'll have a few closing remarks myself, and then there may be some time for the candidates to interact with the audience at the end. Not in a Q&A form, but more informally, as it were. So we'll end with closing remarks. Ms. Anthony, you'll start, so please make your final case to the voters of the city of Monroe. You got a minute.
As I said before, Monroe is my home. I love Monroe. I'm coming from a place of love. I have prepared myself for service. Before I ran, I did the Citizens Academy. I visited every department. I talked with the city manager. Since I have been elected 13 years ago, I have gone to workshops to network with people all over the country, because all of the cities, large, small, have some of the similar things going on. I've served on Federal Advisory Committee, so I would know firsthand what was going on to see if we were in line for any grants. This afternoon, I'm happy to say I received an invitation from the UNC School of Government to participate as a panelist for newly elected officials. I serve from my heart. I serve with integrity. I love Monroe. I want to see it continue to grow. We have some challenges the last 2 years. I've managed to keep it on the road, keep it straight. I appreciate all the support from before, and I just ask you
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Dotson.
I want to thank everyone again for being here tonight. I've spent my time on council focused on doing the work and not just talking about it. That means strengthening our infrastructure, putting policies in place to protect our utility capacity, and making sure Monroe grows in a way that our roads, water, and public services can actually support. I've supported policies that protect our residents, stood behind the men and women of law enforcement who kept our community safe, or I should say keep our community safe, and made fiscal responsibility a priority because every dollar matters. I've also worked to change ordinances that reduce the density of future residential development so that growth happens responsibly and doesn't outpace our infrastructure or change the character of our neighborhoods. All of this is about preserving Monroe's hometown feel, keeping it safe, affordable, and a place where families can afford to build a future. I'm proud of the work that I've done, and I'm asking for your vote so I can continue that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dotson. Ms. Kahle.
Well, thank you again to St. Paul's and for having us, and all of you for being engaged. It's wonderful to see so many people here in the room and online. I've been a part of Monroe for 40 years. We moved here by choice, and it's been such a wonderful experience. As I mentioned, I am a former banker, former entrepreneur, and most recently at the Chamber of Commerce. What I think I bring that's unique is a business experience that we can put to use and I think would benefit the city. The second thing is 40 years of community engagement. While I've not served on council, I have served on the Tourism Development Authority for 14 years, on the Monroe Economic Development Authority as well. I believe that my experience could benefit the city, the community engagement piece, again, bringing the heart and soul of the work that I've done, and I do ask for your vote and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you again for coming. I think we can all agree that downtown Monroe is a very healthy heart, and that heart is very ably pumping blood through all the different parts of the city. The reason we are having so many major corporations expand their business and look at Monroe for their business is because downtown Monroe is so beautiful and so vibrant. I'm very pleased with the work that started 31 years ago when Dana and I first bought our home and made, I hope, differences in the historic district, both residential and business. And it is those efforts and the efforts of countless others that have made the downtown something that people around the country, maybe around the world, are looking at our town. And I want to have another 4 years to finish what we've started with economic development at the airport, to create more tax base, to provide the services that you all want and need. James Carr, I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills.
I would like to have your vote. I have a lot of business experience, a lot of political experience. I still think that a moratorium is in place. Yes, it would take General Assembly to get that done. We need to catch our breath. We need to take a break. There's a lot taking place, is going on. That this is the city of Monroe is the lifeblood of Union County. We are actually the geographic center of Union County is the ag center. I mean, not the ag center, but the aquatic center, dead center. So this is the engine that drives the county, and we're the only game in town. There is no sewer in the county. They're out. The city has it. We're the only game in town. Let's get the best. If you elect me, I'll represent you. I'll work hard to get my best. But also, I do this because I love it. Monroe is my home, and I had the opportunity to go elsewhere. I came back here, and glad I did. My dad was born and raised here, moved us here, and I just thoroughly love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your vote. Parker Mills. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson.
I would appreciate the opportunity in your vote to continue the leadership with generational vision that this council has demonstrated, and the one prior that I was served on with other individuals. The quarry project that Councilman Carr mentioned is one of those pieces. There are many other things that we're working towards to bring to fruition, and I'd like to be a part of that. Let me challenge you, those of you who are here in the room tonight and those of you who are watching us via live stream, replicate yourself. Tell someone else that you're going to vote. Voting begins February 12th. Early voting ends on February the 28th. Primary election day, the first one in 65 years, is March the 3rd. It's important that you exercise your right to vote. It's important that you vote for individuals who are going to represent all of you. All of you. I would appreciate your consideration and your vote on February the 12th. If you don't make it by the 28th, March the 3rd. Thank you again for hosting us, St. Paul's.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and thank all of those at home that are watching. It is essential that people are elected to office that have a proven track record of treating all of our citizens with dignity and respect. It is also essential to elect people that foster unity. That is so important. We are better when we work together. When I come here to the St. Paul's Episcopal Church, I feel welcome. But you know what? People also need to feel welcome when they walk into City Hall. They need to feel welcome when they come to our council meetings. They need to feel like they have a voice and like we represent them and they are the most important person standing in front of us at that time. That is so important and so essential. I want to say this, I will continue to be an advocate for public safety. They need a voice. They need someone to speak up for them because they do a phenomenal job keeping our city safe. I ask for your vote. Early voting starts February 12th. Would love to see you out at the polls. I've also got some palm cards here tonight if anybody has any questions about me. And my website is
Thank you. All right, a round of applause for all of our candidates. I just want to say a personal note of thanks for the decorum and civility of tonight's event. It was a good model for the city and for the viewers out there tonight. A round of applause also for Melinda Plue and Reverend Candace Burgess for their work tonight. We have about 15 minutes. At some point, we will get people out of here and close the church and turn off the lights and those things. Melinda, do you have anything to say in closing?
I know. It's a bit of a brain challenge to do a timer and the different panels. I just want to really thank all of you for coming. Thank you so much, Dr. Ellis, for taking your time to do this. A round of applause for him. A sincere thank you to all of you guys for showing up tonight. I know that this is not the only event in town tonight, and so the fact that all of you made the time to come here is very important. We had a couple who had conflicts, schedule conflicts, or some illness, and so I want to make sure that you all know that everybody was invited tonight. Everybody's welcome, but I really appreciate that you all chose this event. We have some other elected officials in the room, so I would like to just acknowledge anybody that's an elected official. If you'd like to just stand, and I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then, since I'm the closer, I just want to say this church, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, is a wonderful place if you are looking for a place to worship. I don't know about this Sunday because there's a bit of a weather issue, but in general, we worship here at 8 o'clock without music, and we worship at 10:30 with music every Sunday, and we warmly welcome any of you. All are welcome here, so thank you so much. There is information on the table. I know some of you picked that up thinking it was a program for tonight. That was a bit of a trick. It was not. It was information about St. Paul's, and all of us are here, and thank you so much for online participation. Thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.